Hello and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Mono Balagogo, reaching you live from our studios in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about federal government's handling of agitations over economic hardships. Here is a rundown of some of our talking points. We'll look at NLC's suspension of protests. Government says 90% of agreement fulfilled. And Senate's push for food stamps to cushion effects of food insecurity. And lastly, federal government's response to addressing high cost of living. All right, with us in the studio to talk about this is Austin Osage, who is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for joining us on the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, well, a lot is happening in the country. On Tuesday, to be precise, Labour went out en masse to protest all across the country. And on Tuesday night, they suspended the two-day protest all over the country. The Labour, in a communique at the end of its National Executive NEC meeting, said the objectives of the protest were achieved on the first day of the demonstration. And the members of the Nigerian Labour Congress stormed the National Assembly complex in Abuja as they continued their protest over the rising cost of living in the country. And the protest followed the deadline of a 14-day ultimatum issued to the federal government to implement measures against the sufferings and hardship in the country. Let's take a listen to what Joe Ajero said on Tuesday.
You guys that came out despite intimidation, that we should not come to the streets. That if we come to the streets, that the heavens will fall. Have the heavens fallen? No. Have the heavens fallen? No. We are going to present a letter to the National Assembly for onward transmission to the President. We were here a few months back. We presented a letter to them. All those issues are not in our place.
That is your leadership.
And it is important we remind our representatives that we don't bring letters here for the fun of it. We bring letters here so that we take action on it. If we bring this one again, you don't take action on it, then we will resort to self-help. We can decide not to work. We can decide to stay at home. If the National Assembly can't help, all the issues we brought before, we suffered that and that nothing has happened to you. We're here once again to tell you that there is hunger in the land. The bag of rice is selling for over 70 pounds.
Well, in response to the demands of the unionists, the Chairman Senate Committee on Labour, Employment and Productivity assured the NLC leadership that the National Assembly and the Executive are on the same page to find an amicable resolution to the current impasse. Let's have a listen to what he said.
To reason with us, understand with us. There is no way we will allow this thing to continue, but steps must be taken. Already the 15th agenda of the Memorandum of Understanding given between government and labor are tackled. The last issue that is on place is the issue of minimum wage, and negotiations are going on. There is no way that we will not end up with a resolution and a decision that will benefit Nigerians. I assure you, all of us, the press, general public, everybody is feeling it, but Nigeria will succeed. The president will succeed. We will succeed. We are very sensitive to it. My brother will work towards it. So may God Almighty, yes sir, may God Almighty help us to maximize our potentials, maximize our natural resources. May we intervene in such a way that all Nigerians will be able to exploit the God-given wealth that we have. We're all on the same page.
All right. Well, the government is saying they're going to do a lot of things, but I just want us to get straight to the conversation. Of course, we have Osage with us in the studio. Once again, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, all of the drama we saw all across the country yesterday, but last night they decided to call off the strike. What is your reaction? Where did all the passion go to? According to the Labour president, he said, they've achieved. I mean, it's been a success so far. The protest. What's your reaction to the call off? Because a lot of Nigerians are not happy about the fact that this protest, that's supposed to create an urgency in the minds of government to do something about the current situation that Nigerians are going through. When you look at the high cost of living, and all of a sudden Labour pulls out again.
Let me start from the angle of the Labour leader. He pulled out because he discovered that, if you listen to him, what he was saying, he said they have achieved by seeing the crowd. You don't use crowd to judge how successful a campaign is or a protest is. There are some protests that they achieve more of their objective when they are few than being. But that is left to him, because he is the leader. He is the one that knows the reasons or the purpose why he called for the protest. But notwithstanding, there's something I would want to say, and that is critical to the whole thing. The issue is this: whether we like it or not, one thing is certain: the protest is not the major way of achieving this kind of success. Because if you look at it, a day before, that is 2 days ago, I was listening to the TUC chairman. He said something, and that thing he said is very critical. He said, whether you like it or not, today, they can't just be joining protests or declaring strike when they see that the government is making efforts to address the issue. And I'm one of these people I'm one of the few voice that believe that a problem cannot be solved just one day. Like if you listen to both the Minister of State for Labour and the Minister of Information, two of them have come in separate issues, separate press conference, whereby they say government, in their own way or in their own view, the government have met some demands of Labour. But to me, whether you like it or not, we are all Nigerians. This is not the first protest or second or third, and it's not going to be the last. Mine is this: we shouldn't see protest most time as the means or as a way of probably pushing for demands. There are some critical things. That's why if you listen to the TUC, I just want to separate the two of them.
They decided not to even go on strike.
No, they don't even go
protest.
If you look at what he said, he said they don't believe. That is his own school of thought or his own way of things. He doesn't believe that it should be protest. When they put a demand before the government, they are waiting to see response. And whether you like it or not, we have to be realistic here. There are some demands that you can't just expect immediately. There are some demands or there's some response that is going to take time to I've joined the whole country, I joined the fellow comrades on the struggle there. It's obvious there's a problem in the country for now. That one is obvious. And whether we like it or not,
you even look at the fact that before NLC even went on protest, we saw some people even protesting.
That's to tell you how hard and so it's whether you like it or not. Because I saw somebody fainted. Some people fainted yesterday when they were pouring them water. Some were rushing to hospital. If those people have lost their life, this is a protest you call. not considering the health of some of these your protesters. Well, some of them died there yesterday, so I'm sure some of them are hospitalized now. What are they going to say they want to achieve? I'm not saying they should not press for demand for, but there are better way, according to what he said, that they are better, that he has already written to the government. And now I watch again when he was giving the reason why they have to call off this. Less than 48 hours when you are protesting. Less than 24 hours. You say you are calling off the strike based on, and the same reason is given why they are calling off the strike. Will have been the same reason they will have considered before even going on strike. Because whether we like it or not, that strike of yesterday alone have cost them some money to organize that protest yesterday, because many people didn't go to work, they didn't do what they're supposed to do and all that. So I want to believe that we are all in this game, we are all in this struggle, we are all in this hardship. Yes, some people might not be feeling it the way some people are feeling it, but to some of us that are common men like this, that we are not getting money from government or anything, we are even feeling more pains. Because I tell some of my friends that in government, that some of you are in government, went to the same university, we went to the same NYC, we did the same thing. Some of us are not privileged. Some of you are working, you are not doing anything in that office, you are just sitting there and being gist in the evening, you come back. But that is, I don't want to deviate, that is another day discussion. But basically, based on this strike of a thing, I want to believe that strike or protest should not always, we should be graduating from that old way of doing things to new ways of doing things.
But in a situation where government is not doing anything that people can feel, because I won't want to say that government is not doing anything, because I'm a journalist, I can tell you for a fact that there are several initiatives that government has come up with to ensure that things get better for the citizens. But the problem is, it doesn't really get to the people that it's supposed to get to. You talk about palliatives. You talk about, so many initiatives that have been put out. Even the last transportation fare that was slashed during the holidays for people to go home to see their families. There were a lot of issues with that still. Now, let's move forward. NLC talked about 17-point demand to President Tinubu. We have some slides to show some of the demands. We'll just go through them categorically, just to tell you that even some of the things Labour is asking for, I can tell you that government has made efforts about that. But the thing is that does it get to the average Nigerian? The first on the list, they talked about suggesting a reopening of land borders to allow food, cement, and other essentials to come in. Then the second one, they said emergency measures to ensure food security around the country, including ensuring farmlands are secured, then proposing immediate removal of collection of levies, fees, dues, and tolls from petty traders across the nation by local and state governments, immediate implementation of October 2nd, 2023 agreement, which was reached with the federal government, immediate deployment of large numbers of CNG conversion kits to all the states, composition of a team of relevant stakeholders to monitor and supervise all federal governments intervention funds in the arrangement, and reversal and suspension of further increases in school fees across the country, drastic reduction and removal of import duties paid on essential drugs and medical consumables, direct all state governments to immediately pay all owed wages, wage awards, allowances, cash transfers to vulnerable with verifiable and inclusive social register to begin immediately, immediate tax holiday to all workers earning from 100,000 naira per month and below, and removal of VAT on basic consumer items, direct purchase and use of made in Nigeria goods, immediate reduction in the cost of governance in Nigeria at all levels, halting of immediately the implementation of all IMF and World Bank policies in Nigeria, and the final one, speedy conclusion of the national minimum wage negotiation, ensuring that it approximates to a living wage. Now, talk to us. Some of the things I've mentioned, you and I are quite aware that government is doing something about it, but why does it not, make the impact that it's supposed to make?
Well, I want to pick from the first, second, and third, just to combine them together.
Okay.
is fantastic.
His demands.
Yes, demand is for now. It can be because we have a short and long time. We have the short, mid, and long time. How do I put it? Situation now, or policies, solutions
to these problems.
Why I say policy solutions and the rest is this: there are ways for now. I was listening to the vice president last week when he said 43 truck of food items in Nigeria were intercepted, I think in Adamawa State or Taraba State last week, that they were trying to go out of the country. This is a country that we are complaining that there is no food. The same Nigerians are coming to take this food out of this country and take it to another country. I get me now. So whether we like it or not, for now, the first thing I think I'm one of the opinion too, that government should considering that tentatively how they can, because by opening those borders, because some people are taking us for a ride too, which I believe if there are more voice to all this, government should consider that too. Allow the importation of some things that essential things that are here, because in the fact that I say you are trying to grow the local manufacturer here, the local manufacturer too, I want to kill people here, because there are a lot of items of foods here that are being manufactured here, that there's no reason for those things to be absorbed the way it is now. Last week, Wednesday, the Minister of Housing was discussing with Cement Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, and he was critical about what he's saying, that if nothing is being done from their own side, from their own end, that federal government will have no options. You don't need to tell them all this, that they will have no option than to open border for cement. How on earth, which 90 got the only reason, he gave them the reason why the cement should not be more than 3,000 naira in Nigeria, because the 90% of what you are using is being sourced from here. Their own spokesperson, the person that was representing them to speak, was saying that gas. And I love the minister quickly reminded them that today, Nigerian gas is one of the cheapest gas. Chief are telling us it's gas that make it, because if 19.
But the fact that the gas is cheap doesn't necessarily mean that Nigerians can afford it.
No, we are not getting. What we are saying, what their own reasons why they have to jack. Because you can't tell us the reason you jack up cement from 35 or 45 or 5,000 naira to over 10,000 naira, because these are not what you are getting. Somebody that's manufacturing gari in Nigeria. There are some things that I'm sure government is not doing more. So that if there's any counter options that can automatic, because Nigerians we're always good in increasing price. When we get those bad news of dollar is 1.9 today, even when you have something that you have bought for 4 months ago, you still want to quickly. But when the dollar is about today now 1,400, nobody wants to bring it down. You still want. So that was what the first and second and the third will address. That if government had to come, because those people too, if you have talked to them as a stakeholder in Nigeria and they refuse to listen, government can still take some other measures to see how they can reduce, because the pains is not only going, because like the labor leader is on a lot of incentive. He drove on fuel, on government fuel, I'm sure his house, his light, and many of them are not paying a dime. They have not been paying a dime for over 20, 30 years. Because if you graduate from minister, councillor to chairman to assembly.
Are you saying that the likes of Joe Ajero are just fronting?
Yeah, just fronting. Many of them are in the game. They are in the game. They are fronting.
What game are they in?
What game they are in is that many of them too have businesses that they are frustrating people too. But I don't want to, because that is not the point here.
So could that be the reasons why Labour decided to call off the protest?
No, if you look at the reason he gave is that after their meeting, they have come to like, okay, maybe the best way they could achieve this is to allow that the letter they have submitted before, that they are is to allow the letter to get a speedy. So if that should be the issue, what actually want was that you want the letter to get a speedy attention. Why can't you look for means to? Because to me, I tell you today, except you are not ready to move, Nigeria have two options at this junction now. Is either we want to remain the way we are before, or we want to, because we are talking about posterity.
Well, Nigerians don't want to remain the way they are. That's why they are protesting.
No, my point is this.
Yeah.
Nigerians are, you could look at what he said they are protesting for. He said they are protesting because things have gone up. That's what I'm saying. But in the course of all things too, you won't say you want to make progress probably in some areas and you want the things to be the same thing. For instance, when I was in university.
So in other words, Nigerians should keep on experiencing the hardship.
No, not really hardship. Nigeria there's no way. How would I want Nigeria to be experiencing hardship when I mean through the hardship too? I'm in the game. What I mean is this. There are policies. I get it, which you want to attest to now that government is, because I believe government is continuous. It's a gradual process. It's not a process today that somebody will just believe you just sit somewhere and believe maybe things will no. But in all this, government too should see those kind of agitation. I'm not even talking about the LNC protest now. Some other agitation, genuine agitation that are coming from states as a matter of urgency for them to do what is necessary. Because whether we like it or not, as we speak now, Nigeria cannot afford to miss the opportunity of not getting it right now. Because if you look at the subsidy and all that issue now that are bringing issue now, are the issue that I wanted to be addressed 12 years ago. That people were agitating, the same people were agitating that no, it can't be stopped, people will suffer there. The same suffering now, 12 years later, we are suffering now. So assuming it has been stopped then, that's the aim of that subsidy will have been achieved 12 years later. So if another opportunity of 12 years comes now for us to stop it again, and we are saying no, there's no way we'll stop it, that means you are still postponing another problem in the next 12 years. That has been my own kind of analytical view to this issue.
So now Labour is saying that, the NLC, because TUC is not part of this move with new ultimatums to the federal government. They're saying till 13th of March, they're giving the government, 14 days ultimatum to do something. Now, the question is government listening? Because this is not the first time they are giving these ultimatums to government, most especially President Tinubu, to do something about some of the issues that have been raised. Do you think government is doing enough to communicate some of the things that they are doing, to alleviate the plight of Nigerians? Yes,
I want to believe, because if you listen, 2 days ago, the president, through the Minister of Information, said they are listening and they are reviewing what they have submitted to them. And they attest to that, which the president of NSC said it yesterday when he was submitted at the National Assembly, that those committees they have set to review and look into all this. According to them, they are working. That was the reason the TUC gave, that they are meeting and they are discussing. So to them, they don't see a reason why they should, in the middle of discussion, still going to protest and all that. But the NSC have their own view. The reason probably they are going to strike and all, and into protest, strike and all that. But to me, government is listening, because gone are those days. The president communicated 2 days ago that they feel it. He's feeling it too. I'm sure he watched.
How is he feeling it?
No matter how, you won't want your name to no president today.
Okay.
That will personally want to say, I want to become an Idi Amin. He's not in this era again. To him, well, I'm not the president now. There is no way. You are the owner of this studio. If you are the owner of this studio.
The reason I said
I'm
that
just giving
is because sometimes the president and his cabinet can be surrounded with sycophants, people who just tell you what you want to hear, and you don't really get to listen to the people.
No, well, I won't say to an extent, because why I believe this president is not like other presidents is that when he went to Lagos, he was boo. When he went to Lagos, when he went past that market. 2 days later, if you follow his programs, he felt it. He said, now that I see that there are people who are shouting at them. So he knows. He has been in the game before. He has been the governor for 8 years. He started that. I was watching one of the video in 1999 when he just came in December 23rd, 1999. When Lagosians were feeling the pain, causing him and all that. Today, Lagos they are branding themselves as the light of the country.
Are you sure Lagos is the light of the country?
And for today, as he speaks today, if you are talking about in terms of states policies and all that, I'm sure many states are learning from them. They have.
All right. Now I want us to look at an idea that the Senate made mention of. The government talked about food grains, that they were going to distribute food grains, and now the Nigerian Senate has urged the federal government to introduce food stamps program as an interim measure to cushion the effects of food insecurity in the country. A motion that was sponsored by the Senate Chief Whip, Senator Ali Ndume, as well as majority of other Senate during Tuesday's plenary. Let's take a listen to what he said.
I have a motion here titled "The Introduction of Food Stamps in Nigeria as an Interim Measure to Address Imminent Food Insecurity in the Country." The Senate notes that the unveiling of October 23rd Cadet Harmonized Analysis on Food Security, it was projected that in 2024, Nigeria is expecting to see about 26.5 million people grappling with high level of food security. By the way, Cadet Harmonized Analysis is the unified tool for conceptual analysis of acute food and nutrition insecurity in the Sahel and West Africa. And before I go on, distinguished colleagues, you can Google food stamps right away on your handset to have a better understanding of what the food stamp means, because it's being practiced in America. Further notes that the reason for the above projection is not far-fetched, as several indicators, which include but not limited to ongoing conflicts across the country, climate change impacts, escalating inflation as witnessed in recent times, and rising costs of both food and essential non-food commodities due to fall of Naira in the exchange market.
Yeah, that was Senator Ali Ndume. Now, Osage, you heard food stamps. He was asking his colleagues to Google the word food stamps. Now, you ask yourself, palliatives, food stamps, what's the difference? I mean, we saw the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, in charge of cash transfers and all of that. We've also seen the school feeding program, and we know how, ineffective they were in terms of reaching the people that they were supposed to reach. Do you think this idea would help government, to make a difference in this time of economic hardship?
It will not.
And why do you say so?
Yes, he is even aware. And that was why he didn't even know the meaning of food stamp. Palliative, those are not solutions, basically, to the problem we're having now. And that's why you see, in a country that's over 200 million, in a country whereby there is no specific data to say this is how many people are vulnerable, in this country whereby there is no statistics, there is no accurate data of say this is how many complaints we have, in a country whereby there is no accurate figures of how many agencies that are in charge of these programs, in a country whereby you don't even know how many government policy been probably putting in place, achieved, or in a country whereby there is no specific parameters to measure growth, rather that speculative. You are coming and telling us. That was why you see, I was just because it might be an idea somebody took to him and said food stamp, probably just came in straight without even dissecting or anything, and said, let's check about the food. Because food stamp, how long? We have, before now, and even up to now, we have some wicked humans in Nigeria, I want to call it that way, that even when you put them in charge to do this thing, they take advantage of it. Have you not seen the books a books, they said not for sale. People are selling it in the market. They wrote it there. You have seen food, that custom food. They say not for sale. People are selling it. So to me, the idea of that is not even an idea. But that's why you see many of them are just because even some of them when they were selling, they don't even know what the meaning. But the best way to go is not issue of food stamp palliative, because palliative for who? Yesterday I don't want to mention it.
Vulnerable.
Which vulnerable? Yesterday I don't want to mention the state. It's on social media. A state
Mention the state.
In an area in Ilorin. They shared the governor. They said the governor is shouting that he has shared rice. So they shared it in the cup. And it's one of their palliative. Is that 3 cups for someone that have 5 families, maybe 5 children, husband and wife. It's on social media. Because they tie it inside one black leather and one white leather. They throw it on the floor. 3 cups. And the government is here, they have shared. Is that palliative? And do you know how many millions, billions are going into that? So to me, we have to up that game.
So in terms of immediate measures that government can, undertake to ease this economic hardship, what are the things that they should do? Because it seems to me that all they can come up with is, either to distribute something or to give out money. Is that all there is to immediate cushioning of economic hardship?
For now, the best, to my view, that government can do is to possibly open the land border. Because when they are, just like you have enough food now, you're a family man, I'm a family man. Mm-hmm. As you are living in the house, there's enough food. As I'm living in the house, there's enough food for me that I can afford. I won't even be thinking of somebody who coming from home to say that something has finished or these things. Are you getting me? Probably maybe my parents, their food, my brother, siblings and all that in their own various home. Probably maybe there's something. So palliative cannot help. That same way that government wants, because even those grain they say they want to be sharing. How? How many silos do we have in Nigeria? How do you want to share those things? And we have seen during COVID-19, food that was meant to share. Some people took it to their house and they wanted to use it for the purpose of campaign. You are stockpiling a food that was manufactured 2018 or 2019 and they shared it for you in 2020 to share it. And you are keeping it for 2023 election as at that time that they was busy looting all this. And most of these things went waste. Waste. So whether we like it or not today, to my view is this. If tentatively or as an immediate, measure, is to open a land border, so be it. Because for now, Nigeria cannot afford to continue this way. Because to me, if you ask me today, government is just dashing those governors or whoever that they are in charge. They're just dashing them those money. Because that money actually was not going. Because, okay, look at the population of Nigeria today. Do you know how many people that they don't have any hope of what to eat? But if the food is cheap in the market, they were left with no option to go and buy. You get my point now? So that should be one of the best ways to go about it. If we are really serious or we are ready for all this. But anything to me short of that is a wasting of time. Because as it stands today now, if you are sharing palliative, am I going to get? Are you going to get? How many are going to get those palliative? To be realistic to ourselves. So to me, one of the best way now we could go is that tentatively, because the local manufacturer too are not helping. So if there's a way that food can come in, or those essentials, because if you look at the NSC number 2, those essential things can come in. Because somebody cannot tell me today the same cement you are selling in Ghana or you are selling in Ivory Coast or you are selling in Mali, at conversion to Nigerian money about 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 naira, and you are selling the same thing for 15,000 naira. They are manufacturers in Ghana, and even no matter how worse it is, it's not like what we are experiencing here. Not even where we are manufacturing here. So if government can take that tentatively, probably as an immediate something to cushion that, so that people can have access to food. Nobody's begging. Majority of Nigerians are not begging that. They want something they can afford. Somebody cannot tell me that rice was 40-something thousand in January, and we're in February, rice is about 70,000 naira, about 80,000. Does it make sense to anybody? And the salary have not increased, the wages have not increased, nothing have increased. And you are telling me to be hopeful?
Now, still talking about the Senate, because they are the ones actually making this suggestion. But let's talk about the ways and means that the Senate said they're going to probe. Because at the end of the day, you find that government has approved a lot of money. And right now, people are suffering, and government is asking, what has all this money been used for? You talk about accountability, even on the part of the Humanitarian Affairs Minister, Betta Edu. She was suspended, but where is the detail of the investigation that has gone forth? Where is the information? Because if you want to make things better, then there should be scapegoats. I don't know, but what's your thoughts?
My thought is this. That's why you see when they are making that suggestion, when you say something tentatively or something that because right now Nigeria is at the need of intervention. Why other things you are doing are going on, intervention can come in. If I need to drink water here now, and you are promising me that, you know what, when we get to the plaza, I need water now. The issue is this, whether we like it or not, it's not something that happened one day, the probe of a thing. That can be going on. Well, because you can't tell an average family man that cannot feed his children and say you are probing because you are probing somebody. The person you are probing, is it poor? Somebody's 260, 80, 200 billion, 100 billion, 80 billion.
No, but I think it gives room for accountability.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That I say, why
and
that?
Then when people are bearing, it's just like the government.
What I mean is that why that is going on. Like when Akpabi was asking the former Senate president, he was in that city, that you approve. Because I've never seen in an ideal society, in the functional society, where somebody who said you are submitting a proposal and no backup reasons, and you are saying, okay, well, just approve for me. Later, just like I want a deal with you here. I just submit a written letter. I say, please oblige me with the deal. Later, I will bring the proposal. I will explain to you later. That is what took us today. So you probing that same way now. You can't, it's not something of a day. Because those monies have gone into private, and some of them have run away from this country. Are we not going to wait for them while people are dying?
The details, why can't it be published?
That's what I'm saying. No,
details.
The details, no, it will. Because the Senate, I don't want to dive into the Senate, the rep, because almost all of them are almost the same thing in terms of covering up and all that. Because okay, it is you today. Okay,
you're saying they are in the same gang.
They are in the same gang. But you ask a vital question: what will government do? And as I'm saying that, my view is this: one of the best things they can do now is to see how they can tentatively open the land border. Let those essential things, because somebody want to eat, I want to buy bread, 1,600. That won't take me, only me and my wife, no children there. And you say, in a country whereby, how much is the minimum wage? The minimum wage is 30,000. How many people are doing minimum wage job? Less than 2% or 3% of, less than 5% of Nigerians are working this. A lot of Nigerians just wake up, is that they go to farm, they just find what to do, because if you are waiting for anybody or government or anybody to help you, you are wasting your time. So that's why I'm saying that in a country like ours that knows statistical data or analytical data to say, okay, this is what we want to do for this or for this, then while thinking of how to get there, let's see how we can, because for now, the people within are still sabotaging, because I won't imagine why people are crying. Country want to burn. Some people still have mind to come and mop all the small one we are getting here and see how they can take it to another country to make more money. Minding you, their families are in Nigeria, and their families are part of people that are shouting that Nigeria is hard. One of their son or their daughter that is doing business, he doesn't care about the country. That's why I'm talking about the patriotism there. But while we are thinking of, okay, how do we punish and how do we stem this, let's profile a solution that can take care of some people as at immediate. Because you won't tell me today that if there are more rice, more grains in the market and it's cheaper, people go for it. And again, he talks about the subsidy of a thing. Even if you are not bringing the subsidy back completely, let's see those CNG and the rest that you promised. Let's see how that can actually reduce the cost of transportation.
Talking about the CNG, maybe I should just read some details that the Labor Minister, talked about on Tuesday in an interview. She still on the NLC protest. She said the federal government had, ticked about 90% of the 15-point memorandum of understanding that it signed with organized labor back in 2023. And she said some of the agreements includes granting wage award of 35,000 naira to workers, inauguration of minimum wage committee, and the suspension of the collection of value-added tax on diesel for 6 months, and on the provision of high-capacity CNG buses, just like you talked about, for mass transit in Nigeria. She said the minister said that funds had been released for the purpose, but there are certain things you cannot control. You cannot control the number of days it takes a shipment or a container, will stay in port. Is that enough reason, given the fact that it is the federal government that is making order for this? Now, if it's just a private business person that is making an order for this, you would expect for there to be delay. But now this is the government that is making provision, and this is something that is coming in mass. So you begin to find yourself questioning, when will this happen? The president keeps talking about patience. Even the minister was also talking about Nigerians having patience. The problem is that I don't think that Nigerians don't have patience, but the question is, can government give them something to hold on to? And that's why I was talking about accountability the other time. Well, thankfully, the president has, approved the implementation of the 2012 Orosaye report. But you just ask yourself, you look at what happened at the COP summit with the number of delegates that went there. You talk about cutting costs of governance. What can you give to the average Nigerians to be able to bear the pains? How do you think government can actually make the pains bearable for Nigerians? Because if you say, okay, we have to go through those policies before things get better, then people are asking, what do you give us?
Like the CNG they are talking about, there is one, I don't want to mention the state here too, that I'm privy to. The production of those things are not just something that you produce because it's not on the shelf. Like just go there and pick and say, okay, I want this, I want this. Considering the number they want. The one of the state I'm talking about, they're even bringing from China. And China give them dates to be able to finish, to deliver. They have make payment, which I'm aware of that one. They have make payment and they give them dates. That date for them to meet up the production and see how they can deliver. But to me, why working on that? Because another excuses, a lot of people are giving that transportation is of the high side. That was why they are saying because transportation is of high side, that one alone is another reason that I believe is not even a genuine reason. I get it now. But notwithstanding, let government see genuinely how they can bring it. Because let me tell you today, if the cost of diesel and PMS and gas reduced today in this country today, you see a lot of changes. Because in terms of capacity, we have the capacity as a country to get to anywhere we want to get to. We have the physical capacity and we have the financial capacity. But to me, I just want to believe is that it wants to be business as usual, whereby most time each government that comes, the money keep on going to wrong hands, those that are not going to, and later they will always come with an excuses, the reason why this was not done. Because if you sent me a job now, an errand, I should go and get you something at the junction, and I went there, I got there, and the next thing I tell you, sorry, I lost the money. or I didn't come back on time, I was giving excuses. Tomorrow, you have to think twice before you can send with that. Don't let me send you again so that you won't come and tell me the same story. Government should now look at another different approach, whereby it's not going to be that same story, because Nigeria of yesterday might be thinking they are patient. In Nigeria of today, because if you promise me to wait for you in 2 weeks' time, that this will be done, and in 2 weeks' time you didn't come, I have to shout. I have to raise alarm, or I have to raise my voice for you to know that that thing you promised me you want to do 2 weeks ago, you are not able to do it, or I'm not even seeing the feelings that you want to do it. On that, I just want to believe that government can see as well as hasten that, not just only coming to tell Nigerians, okay, we are doing something about it. No, there are ways they can see hasten that to make sure that at least it meets up the demand of people. Because if those CNG and all that and properly utilized or properly put in place, and they are working across the 30 states, including FCT in Nigeria, you see, that will be. But to me, the best of best for now is how government can see how they can reduce, maybe probably open the land border, because believe me, it's not. Somebody was just telling me this morning I should bring 69,000 to come and buy local rice, local Nigerian rice, manufactured here. They are not bringing it from abroad. And I said, how much is foreign rice? 80,000. The same rice that 3 weeks ago, that was about 50,000 or 55,000. The same rice, 55,000.
You now ask yourself, what was the impact of the initial ban on the importation of rice in the first place? Did it have any effect?
It does, that is what I was listening to one of my brother, he's an analyst too, on Stars program like this, where he's saying that what Emefiele and the past government say they did because of this local, all of them, within 2 weeks, the whole thing was eroded. Just like a flood came in somewhere now, and you build a beautiful house and a flood just came in there, or an erosion just came in there, and just washed it away. Because with all this, you can't tell me a local rice will go as bad as almost 70,000 in Nigeria. I don't know.
But that's the reality that we live in.
No, you see, when you say reality, that's what I'm saying, that there are many reasons to all this. One of the reasons I see is that even the citizen patriotism, it's not there.
Then let's not forget to mention the issue of insecurity, because that's also one of the demands.
So in January, the question is this: in January, for those that have hiked those prices, in January there's no insecurity in January. There are even more places that are safe now than last year.
So are you saying security doesn't have an impact?
No, you're not getting my point. The same last year there was a security. Rice was 30-something, 40-something thousand. That was when it was even tough. Because right now, as of today, I'm sure you are watching TV, you are going through the social medias and all that. In reality, in Abuja alone, they have apprehended more kidnapper came more just within weeks now than before. Are you telling me that when those guys were even putting more terror, rice was cheaper? Now that they are arresting them, rice was now going up. Is there any correlation to that? But
but you are just looking at it from the angle of Abuja. But when you look at some states, that are very, very productive in terms of agricultural products, some of the farmers are scared because of the farmer-header clashes. Insecurity is way beyond kidnapping. That's another thing. Your life too is also valuable, because if your farms is attacked, how are you able to guarantee that you're going to have products to harvest?
We are in dry season. Nobody have planted anything for the past 2-3 months that we are eating now. Max, I get me. No, what I'm just saying is this: 2-3-4 months ago, just last January rice was sold for.
So what is the problem?
The problem is greed too. See, it's easy for us to criticize government. I do criticize government where it's needed, and I applaud them when it's needed too. The issue is this: we have to bring patriotism in there. I will tell somebody that you have Indomie here. Indomie, you didn't go to any market and buy. You have it in your stock there. The only reason you are giving me is that you have made call. I said the thing have gone up somewhere. You have not been to the market though. He said you only call. And that thing you have here, you are just increasing about 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 naira immediately there. What does that have any?
Now, an average businessman will tell you that this is just business for me. But you now come to, a move that government was going to take about regulating the prices of
that is even
but the government, it seems to be backtracking on
they are not backtracking. What government have seen there, the way there are some policies you don't force just to make it happen now. My people say to chop off the head is never a medicine for headache. There are some things you cannot. I get me now. But with all these fillers, with all these agitations and all that, I think even if they are not thinking towards that before, they have to start, because it has been an open market for everybody, whereby people sell, they do whatever. It's just like even landlord. I'm sure if you remember.
I mean, you wake up tomorrow and they tell you this price is now.
Even the landlord, the tenant, people are just, everybody just take advantage of the system, because the belief was that the system, nobody was in charge. So government have to be thinking of how to put those regulations in charge or in place, whereby whether they like it or not, they have to be thinking towards how would they bring some things in place. Because whether we like it or not, I continue telling people today, Nigeria can never be better outside me and you, including those that are in government. Because those that are in government today, if they fail to do the right thing, they are going to leave the government too. Another person will come in. And that person that is coming in, if he fails to do the right thing too, he will come in there. The same blame. It will be the same blame game. But when we choose to do the right thing, I choose to do the right thing, you choose the person in government to choose to do the right thing. When it's leaving, he will be living happily. And those that will take over too will be taking over happily, because they know that someone that is living good. But if you do the otherwise or the opposite of it, it's still going to be the same system. But me, I believe is that government should stem their game. They should up their game by ensuring that those things that, because like those commission, I just saw it about yesterday or 2 days ago, they are thinking about putting those commission in place whereby they're going to checkmate all those things. Because somebody cannot you can't just wake up from your bed. Look at Nigeria create artificial problem. Part of the reason what they do is that, one, the first thing they do, they make sure that they don't go to shop per week. If you have a warehouse now, you lock your warehouse for like 2 weeks. By the time you lock your warehouse for like 2 weeks, people will be disturbing with calls or the next the following week you are going to go to the market. You go to the market and you go and start new again. So to me, government should stem their game. Those things that need immediate attentions now should be taken care of. 1, 2. The all other areas, gray areas that need an immediate attention now have to be attended to, because Nigerians are not finding it easy. People are shouting, and that is why I see. I was telling somebody yesterday, I was on the radio program yesterday, where I said I want to see those genuine pocket of those states protests as more genuine than this cosmetic NLC protest, because those cosmetics, it was just a temporary. Okay, look at it now. Less than 24 hours. You say you are calling the protest off, and you are citing the same reason why TUC say they will not join the strike. The same thing you are saying. So look at it now. People are collapsing. People are fainting there. People are born. So if they have died now, they will have told their families, sorry, if they died in active service or in active struggle of what. But that is to them. But to government too. I think government now, because Nigerians are not going to take it for, because I love the way they go through about that protest yesterday. Imagine the TUC join. Imagine the private sector to join. It will escalate. And those that smiling there, that are thinking that it doesn't concern them, they will know that it's concerning them. Because when the country burn, everybody will burn. But I want to believe, and I want to commend the president too. There are some policies that, to me, especially in that monetary and financial and that fiscal aspect of it, whereby they're trying, because that is the beam of everything.
Which has seen the decline of the dollar.
Yes, the dollar to dollar, and even the regulation there. Because the policy is the number one.
The question is sustainability. How sustainable
it will be? It will. You know why it will?
Because I've spoken to economics, several of them on this.
It will. Because why I believe it will is this. to them that are the player too, it's not going to be business as usual too. Let's be realistic. It's not going to be because, like, okay, look at it now. The CBN said your capital deposits with them is 2 billion naira, and you are going to have a 500. That is for the first year BDC. The second tier own is going to be I think 500 million or something like that, and a deposit of about 100 or 200 million naira. The idea is this, and again, they are going to regulate the transaction now. That is a fantastic way of stemming corruption. Because whether you like it or not, you might not get it completely immediately.
Well, only time will tell.
No, definitely.
And
but
of course, I'm going to engage you
definitely.
as time goes on.
We'll continue.
And we'll keep re-examining
we will continue continuously.
Yeah, well, that's the much we can take. Thank you so much, Austin, for being with us.
Thank you very much.
He's a public affairs analyst, but our time is up. That's the much that we can take on the show today. Once again, my name is Morno Balagobo. Thank you so much for watching.